Om Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Sri Guru Samhita, the legend of the Supreme Guru, original in Marathi as Sri Guru Charitra by Sri Gangadhara Saraswati, composition in Sanskrit by His Holiness Sri Vasudevananda Saraswati, also known as Tembe Maharaj. This translation into English is provided by Dr. Narasimhaswamy Banavara. Chapter 29. The Greatness of the Bhasma. Salutations to Lord Ganapati. Salutations to Lord Dattatreya. 1. Namadharaka said, O Guru Siddha, you previously said that the revered Supreme Guru described the amazing legend of the Bhasma, holy hash, in brief. 2. What happened next? O kindness personified. I am very eager to listen to the story of the Supreme Guru. Please tell me. 3. Hearing his disciples' words, Guru Siddha affectionately said, O Namadharaka, I shall now begin to describe to you in detail the legend of the Bhasma, as described by the Supreme Guru to Trivikrama Bharati. 4. The Supreme Guru said, O Trivikrama Bharati, I shall now describe in detail the legend of the Bhasma as per your desire. Pay attention and listen. 5th. Previously in the Kritika Yuga, there was a great saint by the name of Vamadeva. He was very famous all over the world. This Vamadeva would travel all over the earth alone and uninhabited. 6. Vamadeva was a very pure and intelligent man. He was a Brahmagnani, that is one who possesses divine knowledge. He did not have any wife, children, house or other property. He was bereft of any of the negative qualities such as desire, anger, etc. Thus, he would travel all over the earth without any companion. 7. He was always contented and without desire. He would always remain silent. He had complete control over all his senses. He used to wear matted locks and had bhasma, that is ashes, smeared all over his body. He used to wear a tiger skin as his only garment. 8. Thus this great saint Vamadeva travelled to several sacred places on the face of this earth. Once he came to a deserted forest by the name of Kraunacharanya. 9. There was a very fierce Brahma Rakshasa, a flesh-eating demon living in that forest. He was extremely cruel and would eat human beings and other wild animals. 10. This Brahma Rakshasa saw the eternally peaceful saint Vamadeva coming in the forest. The Brahma Rakshasa had been suffering from extreme hunger. Seeing Vamadeva, he immediately ran towards the saint to eat him. 11. The Brahma Rakshasa opened his mouth wide in order to eat the saint. He would grind his teeth and shout in anger from time to time. Unable to tolerate his hunger, he readily advanced towards the saint Vamadeva. 12. The highly knowledgeable and wise sage Vamadeva did not flinch a bit. He calmly stood there watching the fearsome Brahma Rakshasa advance towards him. He did not get excited or frightened, nor did he move an inch. 13. The Brahma Rakshasa was overjoyed at having obtained such a fine prey. He pounced upon Vamadeva in a fierce frenzy and got hold of Vamadeva with both his hands. 14. At that time, some of the bhasma that was made all over Vamadeva's body fell upon the Brahma Rakshasa and stuck to his body. Instantly, the Brahma Rakshasa turned into an extremely wise person. He began to remember all the events of his past lifetimes. 15 to 17. Immediately all his sins were burnt to ashes and he became a very learned scholar. Just as an iron turns into gold with the touch of the Chintamani, just as a crow gets transformed into a swan by bathing into the waters of Manasu Sarovara, just as a mortal being becomes immortal by drinking Amrita, that is the elixir of life, just as a lump of clay turns into gold by the touch of the waters of the river Jambu, the Brahma Rakshasa became extremely purified and wise just by the touch of divine Vamadeva's body. All his sins were instantly reduced to ashes. 18. Obtaining the darshan of a good and a holy man is extremely meritorious. It fulfills all the desires and wishes of a person. Obtaining the darshan of such a man is very difficult, but if obtained, it sanctifies the person instantly. 19. The Brahma Rakshasa was very cruel and fearsome to begin with. One cannot even begin to describe his hunger. His hunger could not be appeased even though he ate horse, elephants, and even men ferociously like a glutton. 20. Such was his hunger. When this is the case, how could he ever be contented? Additionally, his thirst was so great that it could not be quenched even by drinking the entire water of the sea. 21. Such a sinful and terrible Brahma Rakshasa lost all his hunger, thirst, anger, and all evil qualities as soon as he touched the great saint Vamadeva. He became peaceful and highly enlightened. 22. Thus enlightened, he held on to the feet of Vamadeva and said, O Guru, please rescue me, you are indeed the Lord incarnate. 23. O Lord, please rescue this person who is drowning in this terrible ocean of life. You are the protector of the entire universe. You are the Lord of the universe. O benevolent Master, please emancipate me. 24. All of my sins have been burnt to ashes with your divine darshan today. I am a terrible sinner and an evil person, having been purified as a result of your mercy. 25. Thus the Brahma Rakshasa praised the saint Vamadeva in different ways and with devotion. The merciful and benevolent Vamadeva was filled with sympathy towards the Brahma Rakshasa. 26. Vamadeva said to the demon, Who are you? Where are you from? Why are you residing in this deserted, thick and dense forest? 27. O Trivikrama Bharati, hearing the saint's question, the Brahma Rakshasa saluted Vamadeva with devotion, folded his hands and politely explained himself to the saint. 28. The Brahma Rakshasa said, O great Maharshi, I have been enlightened today as a result of your mercy. Memories of my countless previous lifetimes are rushing into my mind now. 29. Among them, I can see the most recent 25 lifetimes very clearly. O revered saint Vamadeva, please listen. Let me tell you everything. Memories of those lifetimes are coming back to me very clearly now. 30. Before my 25th lifetime, going back from the present, I was the king of Yavana kingdom. My name was Durjaya then. I used to commit several acts every day. Note, Yavana referred to a person of foreign origin. As far as India is concerned, the primary person referred to as Yavana were the Ionian, Greeks, Turks and Mohammedans. The Yavana kingdom's lands referred to Iona, Bactria, Greece, Turkestan and Arabia. 31. I inflicted numerous atrocities upon several people in my lifetime. I harassed several citizens in my kingdom. I married several women. Intoxicated by the kingdom and wealth I possessed, I dragged in scores of women to my palace by force and enjoyed them. 32. I dragged into my place several married and unmarried women in order to enjoy them. There is no count to the number of such women. I would spend the night with a woman and then I would push her out and never see her face again. 33. I would bring a woman into the inner apartments of my palace, enjoy her, make sure that she could not leave the palace and never see her face again. 34. Thus I enjoyed sexual relationship with countless women and locked them up in several inner apartments of my palace. All the women were very angry at me and would curse me every day. 35. I defeated all the neighboring kings in war and brought their queens to my palace. I had sexual relationship with those queens by force. Then I locked them up in my palace. 36. Whenever I would see a beautiful young lady, I would bring her to my palace and force her in several ways to submit to my sexual desires. Whoever did not come voluntarily to me was tempted by money, gold, gems, pearls, and other ornaments in abundance. 37. Unable to tolerate my atrocities, several Brahmins in my kingdom ran away to neighboring kingdoms. Intoxicated by power and wealth, I dragged their wives to my palace and forced them into a sexual carnage. 38. I sexually molested pativratas, that is, pious and virtuous women, married women and even widows. My arrogance and insanity drove me to even have sexual relationship with women who were menstruating. 39. I kidnapped several young and unmarried girls and forced them to submit to my sexual desires. Thus I harassed and molested several people all over the kingdom out of arrogance, lasciviousness, and uncontrollable lust. I sexually molested 300 Brahmin ladies, 400 Kshatriya ladies, 600 Vaishya ladies, and 1,000 Shudra ladies. 41. I forced 100 Chandala women, 1000 tribal women, 500 nomadic women, and 400 washerwomen to submit to my sexual carnages. 42. There is no count to the number of prostitutes with whom I had enjoyed with in a state of intoxication and insanity. In spite of it, O Lord, I was never satisfied on account of my evil mind. 43. Even though I had sexual relationship with so many women, my lust was never appeased. I was always drinking and engaging in sexual activities. I was always in a state of intoxication. 44. When I was thus living my life, I was struck with the deadly tuberculosis. I began to suffer from this terrible disease. Seeing my condition, the neighboring kings attacked my kingdom and soon won over it. 45. In the midst of all this chaos, I died suddenly. The Yamadutas, the attendants of Lord Yama, the god of death, came to take my soul. They punished me severely and dragged me to Yamaloka and threw me into the fierce hell. 46. Along with my ancestors, I suffered the terrible distress of hell 10 times in a row, each time lasting 1000 celestial years. Note, 1 celestial year is equal to 360 human years. This is equal to 1 year of the gods. 47. After that experience in hell, I was born in a preta, that is ghost. My body was deformed and ugly with 1,000 penises all over my body. I experienced immense pain and suffering. 48. I thus experienced this horrible suffering. In addition to severe hunger and thirst for 100 celestial years. After that, I had to go once again to abode of Yama and suffer the distress of hell. 49. O Saint Vamadeva, in my second life I was born as a tiger with troubles, kills and eats other animals. In my third life I was born a python. In my fourth life I was born as a wolf. 50. In my fifth life I was born as a pig. In my sixth life, I, who had been a villain and a deceitful person, was born as a chameleon. 51. In my seventh life I was born as a dog. My eighth life was a jackal, and my ninth as a deer. In my 10th life I was born as a rabbit. 52. My 11th life was as a monkey. My 12th as a hawk. Then I was born as a frog, and later as a crow in my 14th lifetime. 53. O great saint, I was born as a bear in my 15th life and as a wild fowl in my 16th lifetime. 54. My 17th life was a blind donkey and I was born as a cat in my 18th lifetime. 55. In my 19th lifetime I was born as a frog. I was born as a crow in my 20th lifetime and as a fish in my 21st lifetime. 56. In my 22nd lifetime I was born as a rat, which disturbs people's parents and meditation. In my 23rd lifetime, I was born as a blind owl. 57. In my 24th lifetime, I was born as an elephant which has primarily the tamas guna, that is negative qualities. In my 25th lifetime, I was born as a Brahma Rakshasa, which I am at present. 58. I cannot begin to tell you the troubles I am facing in this lifetime. I have uncontrollable hunger and thirst every day and every night. There is no food anywhere nearby. O Lord, I have been living in this forest and suffering the severest of severe troubles. 59. As soon as I saw you approaching, my evil qualities took over and I advanced to eat you. Sinful as I am, I rushed towards you in order to kill you. 60. O Lord, as soon as I touched your body, all the memories of my past lives came back rushing to me. I can remember the sinful deeds that I have committed in thousands of lifetimes. 61. O Lord, I do not want another birth. With your benevolent mercy, I shall cross this ocean of life. Please rescue me from this darkness of life. 62. You are the emancipator of all your devotees in this world. O great saint, it is definitely a stroke of great fortune that I have been able to obtain your company today. Such is the great legend of the dust of your feet. Your mere touch has enlightened me today. 63. There are several people in this world. Lord, you are not only among them. O great saint, please describe to me the legend of your divine touch. 64. I am a great sinner and an evil person. I reside in these dense and fearsome forests. How could I achieve such divine knowledge just by your touch? 65. What is the divine miracle that is your body? Only you, who are the divine incarnate, can tell. O Lord, it seems that you have come here for the express purpose of liberating me. 66. Hearing the Brahma Rakshasha's words, the great saint Vamadeva was pleased. He said, O Rakshasha, there is no ordinary miracle. This is the great miracle of the Vibhuti. That is another name for Bhasma or holy ashes. That is smeared all over my body. 67. I had smeared the holy Vibhuti all over my body. A little ash touched your body when you held me. As a result, you were enlightened and you remembered events from your past lifetimes. 68. The legend of the Bhasma is immense. Even the gods, including Lord Brahma, are not completely cognizant of its legend. The camphor-colored Lord Shiva wears this divine Bhasma all over his body as his ornaments. 69. Ordinary mortals cannot understand the divine greatness of the Bhasma that has been accepted by the Supreme Lord Shiva himself. Only the omnipresent Lord Shiva, who is known as Vyomakesha, knows about the powers and greatness of the Bhasma. Note, Vyomakesha, he who wears the sky as his hair, that is omnipresent. The name Vyomakesha is one of the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva. 70. You are asking me to tell you about the greatness of the Bhasma. I shall tell you about the infinite and immense powers and the greatness of the Bhasma using an illustrative example that I saw with my own eyes. 71. In the Dravida region there was a Brahmin. He did not follow any good traditions or have any good qualities. He had strayed from the path of duty. He continued to have sexual relations with a Shudra woman. Note, the 4 stages of the southern region of India form the Dravida regions. 72. All the Brahmins of the town declared him a fallen man and ostracized him away from the town. Even his parents, cousins, friends and other relatives shunned him. 73. Having strayed away from the path of duty and righteousness, he was infamous as Brahmanabhruva, a Brahmin only by birth, not by duty or ritual. Brahmanabhruva, that is a Brahmin only by birth, not by duty or ritual. But the Brahmin did not care. He spent his lifetime romancing with the Shudra lady and enjoying life with her. 74. The sinner and demoniac Brahmin used to steal from others in order to survive. Not only that, he was extremely interested in the other downfallen, straight and loose women of the town and had sexual relationship with them as well. 75. One day when the sinful and thieving Brahmin was engaged in adultery with a woman, a Shudra man beat him hard and mercilessly. It was midnight by then. 76. The Brahmin was almost at the end of his life. The Shudra man took the Brahmin out of his house to a deserted place outside the town and threw him there to die. 77. Seeing the dying man lying there all helpless, a hungry dog pounced upon him to eat him. The dog had been sitting for some time on a heap of ash. 78. When the hungry dog pounced upon the dying Brahmin in order to eat him, the ash that was sticking to the dog's coat fell onto the Brahmin's stomach, forehead, chest and both arms. It was a stroke of luck that the Bhasma, that is ash, fell upon the Brahmin at the moment he was breathing his last. 79. The Brahmin was breathing his last. At that time the Yamadutas, that is attendants of Lord Yama, came there, bound the Brahmin's soul with a noose and got ready to drag him to the abode of Lord Yama. 80. At the same time, seeing the Bhasma smeared Brahmin, the Shivadutas, attendants of Lord Shiva, came there quickly from Kailasa. They said to the Yamadutas, "Who are you? This person is fit to be a resident of Kailasa. Where are you taking him?" 81. This person is eligible to enter the abode of Lord Shiva, not the abode of Lord Yama. Why are you dragging him elsewhere? Saying this, the Shivadutas proceeded to beat the Yamadutas. 82. Seeing the angry Shivadutas advance towards them, the Yamadutas were frightened. They dropped the Brahmin's soul right there and ran towards Yamaloka, that is the abode of Lord Yama. 83. They went to Lord Yama, the god of death, and said to him, "O Lord, it seems that we cannot even traverse the earth. There was a deadly sinner upon this earth. We went there to fetch his soul at the time of his death." 84. Seeing us there, the Shivadutas came there menacingly to hit us. They forcefully snatched the Brahmin soul from us and even tried to imprison us. 85. We ran away from them and have come to you. What is to be our fate from now on? How can we even travel in the mortal world? The Shivadutas will beat us and we may have to retaliate. 86. Hearing the words of his attendants, Lord Yama was furious. Holding his staff in his hand, he quickly came to the side of the Shivadutas. 87. Lord Yama said to them, O Shivadutas, why did you beat my attendants? Why did you prevent them from taking this person's soul to where it should rightly go? Is the sinner eligible to go to Kailasa? 88. This man's sins are not ordinary. His sins are more in number than the number of sand particles on the bank of the holy Ganga. He is a terrible person. 89. He cannot be eligible to go to Kailasa. He is also ineligible to sit in such a divine vehicle. You are taking him to Kailasa out of foolishness. Thus, Lord Yama spoke in anger. 90. Hearing his words, the Shivadutas explained in detail. O Lord Yama, we can clearly see the Bhasma on this person's forehead. 91. We can also see the Bhasma on his chest, arms and ankles. It is only after seeing these signs that we have prepared to take him to Kailasa. After seeing all this, why did your attendants come here to take him to your abode? 92. It is the command of the Supreme Lord Shiva that whoever wears the divine Bhasma at the time of his death is eligible to be brought to Kailasa. That shall be his eternal abode. 93. When the Bhasma can be clearly seen on this Brahmin's forehead, why did your attendants come here to take him away? We should have killed them right there. But we have followed our dharma and let them go. 94. From now on, properly instruct your attendants. Even if a person is a terrible sinner, he cannot be punished in hell if he is wearing Bhasma at the time of his death. 95. If a person wears the Bhasma, then no sin shall stick to him. Such person is certainly eligible to enter heaven. Thus the Shivadutas advised Lord Yama. 96. Hearing the dharmic words spoken by the Shivadutas, Lord Yama, who is the very manifestation of righteousness and dharma, called his attendants and said the following to them. 97. He said, O attendants, listen to my words. If you encounter any person on earth who wears the divine Bhasma, leave him. Always be at a distance from such a person. Even if that person is a mortal, know him to be close to Lord Shiva. 98. Even if such person commits deadly sins or an evil person, do not touch them. People who wear the Tripundra Bhasma are not eligible to come to my abode. Note, the Tripundra Bhasma is the application of the 3 lines of Bhasma on a person's forehead, chest, arms, elbows, wrist and anklets. Each line is called a Pundra. 99. Whoever wears the Rudraksha rosary around his neck and the Tripundra Bhasma on his forehead is a pure person. Do not go near him. This is the command of the Supreme Lord Shiva. 100. Then the great saint Vamadeva explained the legend of the Bhasma to the Brahmarakshasa. Vamadeva said, Even I wear this divine Bhasma on my body with devotion. This is rare even for the gods. 101. This Bhasma is a favorite of the Supreme Lord Shiva. But even Lord Shiva wears his holy Bhasma every day with devotion and affection. Who is competent to describe the greatness of this divine Bhasma that is so dear to the Supreme Lord Shiva? 102. Hearing Vamadeva's words, the Brahmarakshasa saluted him and said, O Lord, who gives new life to the whole world, O great Maharshi, please rescue me. You are definitely the Supreme Spirit himself. 103. The darshan of your divine feet has ushered in the memories of thousands of my lifetimes. It is indeed my great fortune. I must have garnered some merits in some lifetime. That is why I have obtained your association today. 104. I had performed some good deeds before. I was the king of Yavana kingdom. I had constructed several wells in the forest. I had arranged for jobs for several Brahmins. 105. The merits of those good deeds have borne fruit after 25 lifetimes. When I was the king, I had committed countless sins. 106. After I died, the Yamadutas, attendants of Lord Yama, dragged my spirit in front of Lord Yama, who turned to his chief accountant Chitragupta and asked him for the details of my merits and sins. Chitragupta gave the complete account to Lord Yama. Note, Chitragupta is the chief accountant to Lord Yama. He keeps tracks of all sins and merits garnered by each creature that has been created on this earth. 107. Thereafter, Lord Yama said to me, all your merits shall bear fruit in your 25th lifetime down the line. 108. O saint, it is indeed due to those merits that I have obtained the darshan of your holy lotus feet. O Lord, O Guru of the world, O Vamadeva, please rescue me. 109. O Lord, O great saint, please tell me more about the divine greatness of the Bhasma. How should one prepare it? How should one wear it? Please tell me everything in detail. 110. The great saint Vamadeva said to Brahma Rakshasa, O Rakshasa, listen with great reverence and devotion. I shall explain the greatness of the Bhasma and the procedure for wearing it. 111. Once the Supreme Lord Shiva went to Mandara mountain for sport. He was accompanied by a crore of his attendants. The Lord was seated on the peak of the mountains. Note, Mandara mountain is a holy mountain in the Himalayas. It was this mountain that was used in the churning of the ocean with the gods and the demons in order to obtain Amrita, that is the elixir of life. 112. All the 33 crore gods headed by Lord Indra came there. Yama, Agni, Varuna, Vayu and Kubera all accompanied Lord Indra. Note, the guardians of the 8 directions are Indra, that is east, Agni, that is southeast, Yama, that is south, Nirati, that is southwest, Varuna, that is west, Vayu, that is northwest, Kubera, that is north, and Ishana, that is northeast. 113. All the Gandharvas headed by Chitrasena were assembled there. The Yakshas were present as well. Garuda and other big birds such as falcons, eagles and hawks and all the serpents including Adishesha were in attendance. Vidyadharas, Kimpurushas, Siddhas, Sadhyas and Guhyakas were also present there. Note 1. The Gandharvas are a class of beings that live and travel in the sky. They are celestial musicians and are led by Chitrasena. 2. The Yakshas, Vidyadharas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, Siddhas, Sadhyas and Guhyakas are all demigods. 3. Garuda, the hawk, is the king of the birds and the vehicle of Lord Vishnu. 4. Adishesha is the king of serpents and the seat and canopy of Lord Vishnu. 114. Maharshi Vasishtha, the divine sage Narada, the guru of the gods, Brahaspati, and the Pitru gods, that is ancestors, including Aryama, had assembled in front of Lord Shiva. 115. The extremely holy and consecrated group of sages, Daksha, and the other mentally born sons of Lord Brahma, Urvashi and the other Apsaras, that is celestial damsels, had gathered there in the presence of Lord Shiva. Note 1. Daksha was born out of the right thumb of Lord Brahma. He is thus a son of Lord Brahma. 2. Refer to chapter 2, verse 57 for a note on the mentally born sons of Lord Brahma. 3. Refer to chapter 6, verse 61 for a note on the Apsaras, that is celestial damsels. 116. The 12 Adityas, the 8 Vasus, the 7 divine mothers, and goddess Chandika had also assembled there in front of Supreme Lord Shiva. Note 1. There are 12 Adityas representing the sun, one for each month of the year. They are Mitra, Aryama, Tavastru, Dhatru, Varuna, Indra, Vivaswan, Vishnu, Bhaga, Pusha, Parjanya, and Anshuman. 2. Goddess Chandika is a fierce manifestation of Goddess Parvati, undertaken to destroy the demonic forces. 117. The twin Ashwini gods, the 13 Vishwadevas and all the Marudganas all came in front of Lord Shiva. 118. Mahakala, Mahanila, the Bhutaganas and the Nandi were present there as well. Staff welding attendants stood guard on both sides of Lord Shiva. Note, all the above are attendants of Lord Shiva, worshipping and serving the Lord in several ways. Mahakala is a manifestation of Lord Shiva himself and is the leader of all the attendants serving Lord Shiva. Mahanila is a serpent demon who serves Lord Shiva faithfully. The Bhutaganas are multitudes of spirits and ghosts who serve Lord Shiva. Nandi is the bull who forms a vehicle for Lord Shiva. 119. Manibhadra, Veerabhadra and highly revered Lord Ganapati, Shatkarna and Shankakarna had also assembled in front of Lord Shiva. Note, Lord Ganapati is the son of Lord Shiva. The others are the attendants of Lord Shiva. 120. Kumbhodara, Mandatunda, Vikata, Karanadharaka, Dharaketu and Mahavira had gathered there in front of Lord Shiva. Note, all the above are attendants of Lord Shiva. 121. Brigigiriti, the leader of the Bhutaganas, multicolored and multiformed Pramataganas and Rudraganas had assembled in front of Lord Shiva. Note, the Pramataganas and the Rudraganas are fierce creatures who serve Lord Shiva. 122. O Brahma Rakshasa, listen. I shall describe in detail the complexions and forms of various Ganas, group of attendants. Some of the attendants were black in complexion, some were white, some were yellowish, and some other were grey colored. 123. Some attendants were green in color and some others were multitude colored. Some of the Rudraganas had the color of frogs. All these attendants assembled in front of Lord Shiva. 124. All the attendants were bearing different kinds of weapons and missiles. They came on several types of vehicles and were decked in different kinds of ornaments. Some attendants had tiger-like faces and some had boar-like faces, yet others had elephant-like faces. 125. Some attendants had crocodile-like faces and some had dog-like faces. Some attendants had deer-like faces and some had very long faces like a camel. Others had faces like a sharabha. Note, sharabha is a famous mythical animal that has 8 legs. It is believed to be stronger than a lion. 126. Some attendants had faces like a lion, while others had hawk-like faces. Some had faces like a crane. Some attendants had no face, while some had 2 faces. 127. Some attendants had 1 face and some had 4 faces. Some had several faces. Some attendants had 4 hands. 128. Some attendants had just 1 hand, while some others had 2 hands. Others had 5 hands and some had 6 hands. Some attendants had no feet, while other attendants had several feet. 129. Some attendants had no ears, while others had several ears. Some had just 1 ear. All these attendants came in groups and assembled there in front of the Supreme Lord. 130. Some attendants had just 1 eye, and some had several eyes. Some attendants were fat, huge, and enormous, while others were short. All these attendants came in groups and assembled there in front of Lord Shiva. 131. Thus the Supreme Lord Shiva sat there on the divine throne on the mountain peak, surrounded by all the gods and the other attendants. The Lord's throne had several Prabhavalis. Note, the Prabhavali is a radiant circle on the throne. 132. The first Prabhavali was decorated with red rubies and it shone with unbound bright red brilliance. Decorated with gems, it imparted divine radiance to the throne of Umapati, the consort of goddess Uma. Note, Uma is another name for goddess Parvati. Umapati is Lord Shiva and the consort of Uma. 133. The second Prabhavali was manufactured with gold and it shone with bright yellow brilliance. Decorated with gems, it imparted divine radiance to the throne of Umapati. 134. The third Prabhavali was decorated with fierce blue sapphire and it shone with bright blue brilliance. Decorated with gems, it imparted divine radiance to the throne of Umapati. 135. The fourth Prabhavali was decorated with white pearls and it shone with bright white brilliance. Decorated with gems, it imparted divine radiance to the throne of Umapati. 136. The fifth Prabhavali was decorated with cat's eye gems and pearls and shone with bright greenish yellow brilliance. Decorated with gems, it imparted divine radiance to the throne of Umapati. 137. The sixth and seventh Prabhavalis were studded with exquisite gems by the celestial architect Vishwakarma. Decorated with gems, they imparted divine radiance to the throne of Umapati. 138. The Supreme Lord Shiva, who vanquished the evil demon Tripurasura, was seated on such divine throne that was shining brilliantly like a crore of suns. 139. The drones of those who had assembled there were as strong and boisterous as the ranging of all the 7 seas together during a great pralaya, that is colossal deluge. 140. Lord Shiva was seated there looking resplendent. His third eye in his forehead looked fierce and luminous. He was wearing matted locks of hair. He held a kapala, that is skull, in his hand. As his head ornament, he was wearing a crescent moon complete with all its 16 qualities. Note, the 16 qualities of the moon make it complete and perfect. The 16 qualities are Amrita, that is immortality; Manada, that is destroying arrogance or pride; Pusha, that is nourishment; Trushti, that is contentment; Pushti, that is strength; Rati, that is pleasure; Dhuruti, that is fortitude. Shashini, that is fickleness. Chandrika, that is moonlight. Kanti, that is luster. Josna, that is dazzling brightness. Shri, that is fortune. Preeti, that is love. Angada, that is ornamental. Purna, that is perfection. And Purnamrita, that is perfect divinity. 141. The great serpent Vasuki served as the right earring of Lord Shiva. The great serpent Taksha served as his left earring. Both of the Lord's eyes were dazzling with gem-like radiance. 142. Lord Shiva's neck was dark blue in complexion. He was wearing different kinds of snake as his ornaments. He had serpents as his wristband. He was wearing different types of snakes as his finger rings and a snake even as his seal ring. Note, the neck of Lord Shiva is dark blue in complexion. The story goes as follows. The gods and the Rakshasas used a great Mandhara mountain to churn the Ksheerasagara, the ocean of milk, in order to obtain Amrita, the accelerator of life. The great serpent Vasuki was used as a rope to churn the ocean. After a while, the heavy mountain Mandhara sank to the bottom of the ocean. Lord Vishnu, incarnated as a tortoise, Kurma, and held up the mountain on his back while the gods and the demons did the churning. The first object to arise from the ocean as a result of this churning was the deadly and the toxic poison Halahala. The toxic fumes of the deadly poison started to spread everywhere and burnt everything in the path. All the gods and the Rakshasas prayed to Lord Shiva to rescue them from this misery. Lord Shiva took pity on them and collected the poison and drank it. The poison started to flow down his throat. Goddess Parvati, his consort, became concerned. She held his throat tightly so that the poison would not go down his throat into his stomach. As a result, the poison collected in the Lord's neck and turned it dark blue. The Lord thus became known as Nilakanta, that is blue-necked. Once the poison was cleared away, the world became peaceful and the churning of the ocean continued towards the obtainment of the divine nectar. 143. Even the Lord's wristband was a snake. Lord Shiva was wearing a tiger skin as his garment. The camphor-like white complexioned Lord was thus shining brilliantly from his own brilliance like a spotless mirror. 144. The great snakes, Karkotaka and Mahapadma, served as his anklets. The Lord's face was shining brilliantly like the perfect round moon. 145. The great camphor complexioned Lord Shiva, whom all the great saints and the ascetic constantly meditated upon, the Bhaktavatsala, the friend of his devotees, the Lord Pashupati, that is the Lord of all animals, was thus grandly seated on this throne. 146. There was a grandiose gem-studded crown on the Lord's head. The Lord was wearing grand earrings and a large snake as his garland around his neck and on his chest. 147. Lord Shiva had snakes all over his body. He had snakes around his dark blue neck and around each and every part of his body. 148. Lord Shiva had applied fragrant sandalwood paste all over his body and was decorated with fresh and pure lotuses all over. He was white complexioned like camphors. Such a divine Lord Shiva sat in the middle of his court. 149. The Lord had snakes on each of his 10 arms. He also had shining weapons in each of his 10 hands. Such a divine Lord Shiva sat in the middle of his court. 150. Lord Shiva held a Trishula, trident in one hand and a drum in the second. In his third hand he held a big, sharp and gleaming sword. Such a divine Lord Shiva sat in the middle of his court. 151. In his fourth hand he held a drinking vessel. In his fifth and sixth hands the Lord held a bow and arrows respectively. In his seventh and eighth hands he held Kadavanga, that is a wooden staff with a skull at its top, and an axe respectively. In his ninth hand Lord Shiva held an Ankusha, an elephant driver's hook. 152. In his other hand Lord Shiva held a deer. Thus Lord Pinakapani, he who holds the trident, shone brilliantly in his court and was gleaming weapons in all his 10 hands. The Supreme Lord, 153, the Supreme Lord Shiva had 5 bright faces. Each of the Lord's faces is decorated differently and glows with immense radiance. I shall describe all of them to you. Pay attention and listen. 154, the western face of Lord Shiva looked bright like the full moon devoid of its dark spot. It looked white just like a cascade of the foam of milk. Smeared all over in the holy Bhasma ash, Lord Shiva, who once burned Manmatha to ashes, looked resplendent. Note, Manmatha is the Cupid, the god of love. He incurred the wrath of Lord Shiva by shooting an arrow of love onto the Lord in order to invoke the Lord's love for goddess Parvati. Extremely angered by the sinful act of Manvata, Lord Shiva opened his third fierce eye and burnt Manvata to ashes. 155. Lord Shiva was wearing the snake as his Yagnopavita, that is sacred thread. The sun and the moon were his shining eyes. Agni, the god of fire, formed his third fierce eye. Thus Lord Virupaksha, another name for Lord Shiva, who once burned Manvata to ashes, looked resplendent. 156. There was a pure and divine tilaka on the Lord's forehead. There was also a bright smile on his lips. Thus the Lord, Chandramauli's western face, looked divine and radiant. Note, Lord Shiva is also known as Chandramauli, the one who wears the moon on his head. 157. The second and the northern face of Lord Shiva were very handsome. It was big, bright and copper colored. Thus the divine face of Lord Shiva shone brilliantly. 158. The Lord's second lotus-like face was as red as pomegranate flower. It was beautiful like the aurora of the rising sun at dawn. 159. The third and the eastern face of Lord Shiva was decked with the divine river Ganga and the crescent moon. The matted locks were tied up with a snake. The Lord's face was thus resplendent. 160. The fourth and the southern face of the Lord Shiva was fierce-looking and equipped with the ferocious long teeth. It was blue in color and was very long. Thus Lord Shankara looked fearsome. 161. Large flames raged out of the mouth of the Supreme Lord Shiva. Though the southern face of the Lord was extremely fierce and cruel to look at, it provided assurance to the true devotees of the Lord. 162. The fifth and the central face of Lord Shiva was dichotomous. It was both Vyakta, that is manifested, and Avyakta, that is unmanifested or transcendental. It was both Shakara with form and Nikara formless. It was both Saguna equipped with the gunas or qualities and Nirguna without gunas or qualities. 163. It is both Lakshya, that is perceptible, and Alakshya, that is imperceptible. Thus the Lord Shiva, who is the Lord of the universe and the Lord of all lords, shone resplendently with these five faces. 164. Kala, Vyala and such other serpents adored the neck of the Supreme Lords as garlands. Both feet of the Lord looked bright red lotuses. 165. His toenails appeared and shone like the crescent moon. Decorated all over his body with snakes and serpents, the Supreme Lord Shiva looked resplendent. 166. Lord Shiva had a tiger skin as his garment. He had serpent tied around his waist over the tiger skin as his waistband and belt. Thus the Supreme Lord shone magnificently. 167. His Trivali, that is 3 rows of abdominal muscles, looked absolutely wonderful. His navel was raised and looked divine. He had thick dense hair all over his chest. Thus the Supreme Lord looked resplendent to all his devotees. 168. The Supreme Lord Shiva, who is the Bhaktavatsala, the friend of the devotees, was thus seated on the majestic throne looking grandiose. Seated next to him on the magnificent throne was the fully bedecked goddess Parvati, the consort of Lord Shiva. 169. The divine goddess Parvati was completely decked with several kinds of ornaments. She is Sarveshwari, the goddess of the whole world, the goddess of one and all. Her beauty is beyond words or description. She was looking resplendent with several types of jewels and gems and shone with her own radiance and grace. 170. Goddess Parvati was of white and radiant complexion. She sparkled like the golden champaka flower. That she wore a divine string of pearls along with a gem-studded crown. She also wore snakes as her ornaments. 171. The crown of the goddess was decorated with several flowers as well. Several bees surrounded those flowers in order to drink the nectar from those flowers. That bustling of the bees sounded like sweet music performed by accomplished musicians. 172. The crown of goddess Parvati was studded with Navaratnas, the 9 divine gems. Pearls were strung all around the crown. These pearls shone brilliantly like countless radiant stars. Thus the divine goddess Parvati shone resplendently. Note, the divine Navaratnas, 9 gems are Vajra, that is diamond, Vaidurya, that is cat's eye, Manikya, that is ruby, Marakata, that is emerald, Neela, that is sapphire, Vidruma, that is coral, Mukta, that is pearl, Gomedika, that is agate, and Pushyaraga, that is topaz. 173. The face of the goddess shone like the full moon. She had a smile on her lips. Thus the mother of the universe, respected and revered by one and all in the entire universe, the supreme goddess shone resplendently. 174. The goddess had a very beautiful nose that was adorned with a pearl nose ring. There were other gleaming new gems that were studded on the nose ring that made it even more dazzling and beautiful. 175. The lower lip of goddess Parvati was shining vibrantly like the bright red shoot of a young coral creeper. Her teeth were shining brilliantly like the rows of diamond. Thus, the Mahamaya shone resplendently. Note, goddess Parvati is Mahamaya, the primal force of the universe and also the divine illusion that spreads all over the universe. 176. The earrings of Jaganmata, the mother of the universe, were studded with large diamonds. They were Manikarnika, ear ornaments studded with diamonds, pearls, and other divine gems. Thus, the Mahamaya goddess Parvati was bedecked with hundreds of gems and other ornaments. 177. Goddess Parvati was wearing a golden yellow blouse over her breast. Her neck was adorned with a necklace and a garland studded with Navaratnas, that is the 9 divine gems. 178. The snakes surrounding the goddess and the mother of the universe were drinking the milk that flowed from her breast. That was the divine mercy and compassion of the goddess who feeds her own milk to the snakes and regard them as her own children. 779. The goddess Parvati was wearing a sari that was red like a pomegranate flower. Wearing the grand red sari, the goddess Girija looked divine and magnificent as though she had just been worshipped with kunkuma, that is red or crimson vermilion. Note, Girija is another name for goddess Parvati. The goddess was wearing simple but elegant ornaments on her arms. Her wristband and bangles were studded with precious gems. 181. Her lotus-like feet was decorated with gem-studded anklets and other divine ornaments. All her attendants and the attendants of Lord Shiva meditated upon such a form of supreme goddess who grants her devotees her benevolent mercy and blesses them. 182. The soft tilaka, red vermilion marks on the forehead of goddess Parvati appeared like the crescent moon. The divine tilaka appeared as if it was prepared by crushing divine pearls into a paste and applying them onto the forehead of the goddess. 183. The supreme goddess Parvati, the consort of Lord Shiva, the daughter of the Himalayas and the mother of the universe, looked resplendent in all her fine jewelry and various type of ornaments. Who on this earth is really capable of describing the beauty of the supreme goddess? 184. Thus goddess Parvati sat on the grand throne along with her consort Lord Shiva, who is the very manifestation and the very soul of energy, thought and inspiration. As the divine couple sat there, Lord Indra, accompanied by all the gods, arrived there to have the darshan of the supreme couple. 185. All the gods and all the divine sages arrived to have darshan of the Lord Shiva. Sanaka and his brothers also arrived there. Note, Sanaka, Sanandana Sanat Kumara and Sanat Sujata were the very first person created by the Lord Brahma when he started the process of creation. The 4 are Brahma Rishis, that is the divine sages, and are constantly in contemplation of the Supreme Lord. 186. Sanat Kumara prostrated before Lord Shiva and firmly held on to his lotus feet. He humbly said to the Lord the following. 187. He said, O Lord Shiva, praises be to you. O Umapati, praises be to you. O Lord of the universe, you are the only one in all the 3 worlds who can grant all the 4 Purushastras, that is pursuit of life, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. 188. O Lord, previously you had kindly advised me about the subtle secrets of Dharma, that is righteousness. That advice vanquishes all sorts of sins of mankind and helps one cross this difficult ocean of life. 189. Today I am requesting you to kindly suggest a technique which yields immense merits to people without expending much efforts. It should be capable of granting a person all the 4 Purushastras without much endeavor. 190. Otherwise, one has to undergo extreme hardships and suffering in order to attain all the merits required to achieve the Purushastras. Therefore, O Lord, in order to benefit all human beings, please have mercy on us and suggest such a technique. 191. Hearing these words spoken by Sanat Kumara, Lord Shiva was pleased. He addressed the sage Sanat Kumara and the other sages in a way that all the people gathered there could hear. 192. Lord Shiva said, O sages, listen, the technique I shall describe now is a technique which definitely helps one garner great merits quickly. It is a great technique to achieve the pursuits of life, that is Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. 193. It is a technique that has been accepted by the Vedas and the Shastras. It is a very simple technique and yields all the divine fruits to persons who follow it righteously. It can become the cause for infinite merits. The technique is apply the divine Tripundra Bhasma. Note, the Tripunda Bhasma is the application of 3 lines of Bhasma on the person's forehead, chest, arms, elbow, wrist and anklets, and each line is called Pundra. 194. Hearing the Lord's words, Sanat Kumara asked Lord Shiva, O Supreme Lord, what is the procedure for this technique? What are the ingredients used to prepare the Bhasma, that is holy ash? Where all should one apply the Bhasma? What is its power and who is the presiding deity of the Bhasma? 195. Who is eligible to wear Bhasma? How much Bhasma should one wear? What mantra should one recite when one wears it? O Supreme Lord Shiva, please describe all of this in detail. Saying this, Sanat Kumara held on to the feet of Lord Shiva and saluted him. 196. Hearing the words of Sanat Kumara, Lord Shiva explained everything in detail. He said, O Sanat Kumara, the primary ingredient for Bhasma is cow dung. Its presiding deity is Agni, the god of fire. 197. One should prepare the Bhasma as explained in the Jabala Upanishad. Otherwise, the Bhasma from a yagna sacrifice is also equally valid and auspicious. By wearing this divine Bhasma, one achieves significant merits. 198. One must take the Bhasma in his hand and place it in his left palm while reciting the Sadhyojata mantra. He should invoke the divinity in the Bhasma by reciting the Agniriti Bhasma mantras as told by Jabala. 199. He should then recite the Manastoke mantra and mix the Bhasma with water and make it into a paste using his right thumb. Reciting the Trayambaka mantra, he should wear it on his head with devotion. 200. Reciting the Trayusham mantra in order, the learned one should apply the Tripundra Bhasma on one's forehead, neck, navel and left and right arms respectively in the given order. 201. One must apply 3 lines of Bhasma at every spot as described above while reciting the mantras. Each line of Tripundra must be as wide as one's eyebrow and in that shape. One should not draw more than 3 lines at any spot. 202. First one must draw the 3 lines of Tripundra on the forehead from left to right using the middle finger, ring finger and thumb of one's right hand. The top and bottom lines of Tripundra must be drawn with the middle and the ring finger respectively. The middle line must be drawn with the back of the thumb. 203. Thus the Tripundra must be drawn with devotion while reciting the mantras and contemplating on the respective deities of the 3 lines. I shall now tell you about the presiding deities for each of the lines of the Tripundra. 204 and 205. 9 deities reside in each line of the Tripundra. The qualities of the first line comprised of the syllable, the Grahapatya Agni, Bhutatva, Rajas Guna, the Rig Veda, Kriya Shakti, Pratas Savana, and the presiding deity Lord Brahma. Note 1. The syllable is the first of the 3 syllables making up the divine Grahapatya Agni, the household fire transmitted from father to son in the same household. There are 3 types of sacrificial fires: the Grahapatya Agni, Achavanaya Agni, and Dakshina Agni. Bhutatva, earth is the primary element. Rajas Guna is the quality mode comprised of passion, energy and movement. Kriya Shakti is the power of action. Savana is a sacrificial ritual performed 3 times a day. It takes several forms such as Tarpana, that is libation to the gods, with water or soma, the juice of the plant, a ritual bath or any obligation. Prata Savana is the Savana performed in the morning. 206, 207. I shall now describe in detail the qualities of the second line of the Tripundra. They are the syllable, Dakshina Agni, Nabatatva, Sattvaguna, the Yajurveda, Icha Shakti, Madhyana Savana, and the presiding deity Lord Vishnu. The syllable is the second of the 3 syllables making up the divine Dakshina Agni is the southern fire of the altar, one of the sacrificial fire. Nabatatva, sky, is the primary element. Sattva Guna is the quality mode comprised of the positivity, goodness and wholesomeness. Icha Shakti is the power of desire. The Madhyana Savana is a Savana performed in the afternoon. 208, 209. I shall now describe in details the qualities of the third line of the Tripundra. They are the syllable, Avaniya Agni, Swaha Tattva, Tamas Guna, the Samaveda, Jnana Shakti, Traitriya Savana, and the presiding deity Lord Shiva. Thus the 3 lines of Tripundra must be applied while meditating on the qualities of each line. The syllable is the third of the 3 syllables making up the divine Om. Avaniya Agni, the eastern fire of altar, the fire which is prepared from the householder's fire to receive the sacrificial obligations. Swaha Tattva, the heaven is the primary element. Tamas Guna is the quality mode comprised of negativity, lethargy, darkness and ignorance. Jnana Shakti is the power of knowledge. The Taittiriya Savana is a savana performed in the evening. 210. Applying the Tripunda Bhasma as described above while reciting the respective mantra is referred to as the great Mahesha Vrata. That is the ritual of Lord Shiva. One must perform this ritual daily. This ritual has been accepted by all the Vedas and the Shastras. 211. If a person applies the Tripunda Bhasma every day according to the procedure in devotion and desires moksha, that is eternal salvation, then he shall have no more rebirths. By wearing this Tripunda Bhasma regularly, a person attains fulfillment of all his desires and wishes. He shall obtain all the 4 Purushastras. 210. Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi, people from all these 4 ashramas, stages of life, should wear the Bhasma daily while undertaking all the Vedic rituals. 213. Minor offences as well as the deadly sin shall be completely destroyed by wearing of the divine Bhasma. A person shall quickly transform into a purified person and become meritorious by wearing the Bhasma. 214. By wearing the holy Bhasma, a person who has killed a woman, a person who has killed a Kshatriya, a person who has killed a warrior, and a person who has committed suicide shall all instantly become purified. 215. Whoever recites the mantras according to the procedures and wears the Bhasma with respect and devotion shall achieve immense fame. Such a person shall become highly respected even in the heavens. 216. Even if one is not aware of the procedure of wearing Bhasma, but if one wears the Bhasma every day with respect and devotion, such a person shall become purified. There is no doubt in this. 217. A person who steals other people's money, a person who has sexual affairs with a woman other than his wife, a person who criticizes other people, and such sinners shall be purified by wearing the holy Bhasma. A person who steals 218. A person who steals or usurps other people's property and fields, a person who enjoys hurting others, and a person who destroys crops in the fields and the plants in the garden shall also be purified by wearing the holy Bhasma. 219. A person who utters lies all the times, a person who tells tales about other peoples, a person who sets fire to the house and other property, and a person who sells the Vedas, even by reciting them for money, shall also be purified by wearing the holy Bhasma. 220. A person who bears a false witness, a person who speaks foul language, a person who cheats, a person who works only to satisfy his stomach and personal needs, such sinners shall also be purified by wearing the holy Bhasma. 221. A person who accepts cows, lands, gold, buffaloes, clothes, food and sesame and woolen blankets as donation shall also be purified by wearing the holy Bhasma. 22. A sinful person who accepts dichotomous seeds, such as several pulses and grams, as donation from lowly person shall also be purified by wearing the holy Bhasma. 223. A person who has sexual relationship with a maid, a prostitute, a transgressing woman, a Shudra woman, or a menstrual woman shall also be purified of his sins by wearing the holy Bhasma. 224. A person who has sexual relationship with an unmarried virgin or a widow shall be purified of his sins if he truly repents for his sins and wears the Tripunda Bhasma according to procedure. 225. A person who buys and sells meat, milk, or sea salt and other products of the sea shall be purified of his sins if he truly repents for his sins and wears the Tripunda Bhasma according to procedure. 226. A person who wears the Bhasma with respect and devotion shall become purified of all sins and become meritorious. Any person who has committed a sin, knowingly or unknowingly, shall be purified of his sins by wearing the holy Bhasma. 227. Thus wearing of the divine Bhasma shall destroy all of the sins of the person. Such is the greatness of the divine Bhasma. But sinners who criticize the Supreme Lord Shiva shall never become free of their deadly sins. 228. A person who steals the ingredients set up for the worship of Lord Shiva and a person who criticizes Lord Shiva and his devotees shall never be freed of his deadly sins. 229. A person who wears the holy Rudraksha, that is rosary around his neck, and the Bhasma Tripundra on his forehead shall become respected and valued all over the world, even if he is a great sinner. 230. The merit one garners by bathing according to the procedure in all the tirthas, that is holy bodies of water including the sacreds, at all the holy pilgrimage sites can be obtained by just wearing the Tripunda Bhasma regularly. 231. A person who wears Bhasma regularly shall obtain the merits one garners by chanting and reciting the crores and crores of mantras described in the Nigama and Agamas. Note, Nigama is an auxiliary and explanation works of the Vedas. Agama is a traditional doctrine or precept, a collection of such doctrines, a sacred work, or anything handed down or fixed by tradition, such as the reading of the text or a record. The Agama represents all the Vedas. 232. Whoever wears the holy Bhasma regularly shall have all of his sins from 1,000 lifetimes washed away in an instant. In addition, all the sins of his forefathers shall be washed away as well, as they shall attain salvation. 233. A person who wears the divine Bhasma regularly shall experience all the happiness of this world. He shall live a full and complete life of 100 years. He shall be free from all diseases and shall lead a good life. 234. A person who wears the divine Bhasma regularly shall obtain all forms of prosperity, wealth, divine knowledge and a divine body. At the end of his life he shall obtain eternal salvation as well. 235. When a person who regularly wears the Bhasma departs from this world, the Apsaras, that is celestial damsels and nymphs, shall seat him in a divine and grandiose vehicle and lead him into Swargaloka, that is heaven, with utmost respect. 236. A person who wears the divine Bhasma regularly shall be respected by all the Siddhas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, all the gods, and even by Lord Indra, the king of gods, and the other guardians of the 8 directions. 237. A person who wears the divine Bhasma regularly shall happily remain in Swargaloka, heaven, for a very long time. He shall then go to the eternal and divine Brahmaloka, that is the abode of Lord Brahma. 238. This person shall remain in the eternal Brahmaloka for 100 kalpas, after which he shall proceed to the divine Vaikunta, the abode of Lord Vishnu. Note, kalpa is equal to 1 day of Lord Brahma and equal to 1000 yugas, that is yuans. 239. This person shall remain in Vaikunta for 3 Brahmakalpas and then proceed to the divine, eternal and imperishable Kailasa, the abode of Lord Shiva. 240. The person shall remain there forever and become one with the Supreme Lord Shiva. There is no doubt in this at all. Therefore, O Sarat Kumara, wear this holy Bhasma as Tripundra. 241. In my opinion, this is the essence of all the Vedas, Shastras and the Upanishads. The wearing of the divine Bhasma helps one attain all the 4 Purushastras, that is, pursuits of life. 242. Thus Lord Shiva described the greatness of the Bhasma to Sanat Kumara and all the others assembled there. He instructed Sanat Kumara and all the sages and other people assembled there to wear the divine Bhasma. 243. Thus instructing Sanat Kumara and others, the Supreme Lord Shiva returned to Kailasa, his abode. Sanat Kumara was extremely pleased upon hearing all the words spoken by the Supreme Lord Shiva. He happily departed for his abode, the Brahmaloka. 244. Thus the great and kind saint Vamadeva described the legend of the divine Bhasma to Brahma Rakshasa. The Rakshasa was pleased to hear the description. He saluted Vamadeva's feet with great devotion. 245. The Vamadeva said to Brahma Rakshasa, O Rakshasa, this is the greatness of the divine Bhasma. As soon as the Bhasma that was made on my body touched your body, you became enlightened. 246. Saying thus, the great saint Vamadeva invoked divinity in some more Bhasma and happily gave it to the Brahma Rakshasa. 247. Then the Brahma Rakshasa applied the Tripundra Bhasma on his head and forehead according to the procedure. Instantly his body became radiant and divine. He became a beacon of brilliance. 248. He began to shine brilliantly like the sun with his new divine body. The Brahma Rakshasa was ecstatic. He floated into Brahmananda, that is divine bliss. 249. The Brahma Rakshasa then performed a pradakshina, circumambulation around the great saint Vamadeva and saluted him. Meanwhile, a celestial vehicle shining brilliantly like the sun came down from the heavens. 250. The Brahma Rakshasa climbed into the vehicle and instantly reached heaven. The great saint Vamadeva took mercy on him and granted him the heavens. 251. The great saint Vamadeva is a very manifestation of the Supreme Lord Shiva. He is Mahadeva, another name for Lord Shiva, the Supreme Lord. He is a great soul who travels all over the world and liberates people from the bondages of this ocean of life. 256. Vamadeva is the Supreme Guru. He is the Jagat Guru, that is the Guru of the universe and the very incarnation of the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. He just appears human to the common eyes and travels around the world, emancipating people from their miseries and afflictions. 253. The greatness of the Bhasma is indeed divine. It has particular significance if one receives the Bhasma from the Guru's hands. The Rakshasa instantly attains salvation by applying the Tripundra Bhasma after receiving it from the Guru's hands. 254. There are several mantras in the Vedas and the other scriptures, but they cannot be learned or accomplished without a Guru. The Vedas and Shastras state with authority that there is no better philosophy or truth than the Guru. 255. The great saint Sutta explained the greatness of the Bhasma to all the sages, saints and ascetics. He stated that the Bhasma obtained from the Guru's hands is the greatest and the most divine. The Guru is the most important reason for bringing in divinity to the Bhasma. 256. The Supreme Guru, Sri Narasimhaswamy Saraswati, explained all of this to the ascetic Trivikrama Bharati. Hearing those words, Trivikrama Bharati happily saluted the lotus feet of the Supreme Guru and placed his head on the feet of the Supreme Guru. 256. Obtaining the permission of the Supreme Guru, Trivikrama Bharati saluted the Supreme Guru again and set off for his original place of Kumsi. Hearing the great advice of the Supreme Guru, all the people assembled there gained much knowledge. 258. Guru Siddha said to Namadharaka, O Namadharaka, the Supreme Guru protects all the people of the world with great affection. Thus Guru Siddha respectfully explained the Sri Guru Charitra to Namadharaka, who also listened with great respect and devotion. 259. Gangadhara Saraswati, who is a great devotee of the Supreme Guru, Sri Narasimhaswamy Saraswati, thus describes the holy Sri Guru Charitra. He states that whoever listens to and reads this holy legend shall definitely achieve all the 4 Purushastras. Thus ends chapter 29 in the Karma Kanda in the dialogue between Guru Siddha and Namadharaka in the text known as the Legend of Narasimha Saraswati, authored by Gangadhara Saraswati in the Marathi language as Sri Guru Charitra and referred to as Sri Guru Samhita, composed in the Sanskrit language by His Holiness Sri Vasudevananda Saraswati. Om Tat Sat. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu. Mantrahina, Kriyahina, Bhaktihina, Kshamapate.